One of the most common calls I get is my landlord wants to sell and I need a new rental. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. As a licensed real estate agent in what's been the most euphoric real estate bubble in history, it has been like a dogfight to do business in real estate. It has been borderline insanity to the point I came to YouTube, turned on the camera, and started giving straight talk. No more bubblegum, watered down edits, just the real deal. And the channel has responded, and I want to thank you for that. So before we get into today's red hot topic, I am going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And please watch to the end for what should be my final thought. All right, folks, so here's the thing. As a real estate guy who's been a landlord for many, many years, who works in full-time real estate, who works with big, huge real estate websites, fielding all the calls that come in, and most of us are at home shopping online. It's been one of the biggest shifts as a realtor is the amount of online business now that takes up, it used to be a minimal part of a realtor's business that would be generated from, leads and online shoppers to now huge component. Now, a lot of these websites, all of them are play to pay, or you got to pay to play. But one of the things that I see is I heat map my own clients in my own area, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, we talk about this a lot. Real estate as a whole nationally is dealing with the same issues. To some areas maybe dealing with it a little more or a little less, but as a whole, it's just the real estate, in my opinion, you can talk to agents almost anywhere nationally and they're going to have the same temperature checks. It's really to what degree. So for me, where I live, there's always what we call flight to the suburbs. So a lot of the big neighboring cities, we always, certain times a year have people migrate towards us, whether they're retirees, empty nesters, whatever the case may be. They went out of the city. Well, now we've seen that put on steroids. It has been absolute insanity. And then, thanks to this global, the global pandemic, we've had people either, make more money than they ever have, or make, their job went away, or either that, or they just felt like wherever they're living was no longer somewhere they wanted to live because they didn't want to be controlled by government. It's this great divide, the great divide, the great. I mean, I have a hard time reporting a lot of this stuff, you guys. I really do. Now, again, I have a great life. I'm a salesman. I am a natural salesman, but also trained on the psychology of sales. So a lot of the things you see from me, I always know for me, I have to have a great attitude. That's what allows a salesperson to be a great salesperson. And not only in sales, I mean, just with relationships. We're always more comfortable with people that are comfortable with themselves. So a lot of times, as serious as these issues are, I tend to have to laugh at myself as I say them sometimes. I mean, again, and that's the other thing. You never want to take yourself so serious. Nobody likes somebody so serious. Nobody likes somebody who thinks they're perfect, right? And so that's why I think my videos do a little better, is because a lot of times I'm going to stumble on my words, whatever. I don't care. It's real. This is the real deal stuff. And so back to the topic. One of the things that we're seeing now is rentals all the time. Oh my God, I either get calls from owners wanting to sell their properties, but they have tenants in them. I'm working on that right now. Or I'm getting calls from friends, families, or even these big websites will send me, because on these big websites you can find stuff for sale or rent. So a lot of times I'm taking calls for people who need a new rental. And one of the more common explanations, because whenever I'm talking to somebody, I say, great, yeah, no problem. I'm going to help you with your rental search, knowing that we are in a huge uphill battle. But of course, I don't want to tell them that, because my job is to make it happen. So, I don't want to stress them out further. They're already going to be stressed out in this situation. And it's 9 times out of 10 is the owner wants to sell. And I get it. It's a money grab situation. And I tell a lot of the people I, sell for, hey, if you've been considering selling right now, we're at the top of the market. It's not going to go up the way we just saw it go up. We kind of hit the top. If it goes up anymore, it's not going to be at the levels we just saw. So, if I understand if you want to sell now, this is probably the time to do it. For me, I'm holding my real estate. I always say it's better to hold your real estate. Again, maybe someday I sell everything and ride off into the sunset. But for right now, I want things to pass on to my kids, and it's provided me, income. So why would I get rid of, income? So back to, the rental situation is a lot of you are in need of rentals right now. And a lot of you got notification that the owner wants to sell, or it doesn't even matter. It's just you need a rental. And the reality is that the rental rates have spiked almost, on the same level as what property values have done. I'm seeing stuff, pretty inflated right now when it comes to rentals. And if something's priced halfway decent, the amount of people, it's like a pack of dogs, right? It's just like, what we saw in the buyer euphoria when people went on market with their house, that market value. It's a pack of dogs, and they're bidding it up, crazy amounts over market value. So when it comes to right now rentals, and we're going to kind of touch on a few things. I'm going to hopefully help you with a couple things right now. One is, if you own rental property, don't price gouge your tenants. Do some rental increases, but don't price gouge them. It's just they're just going to leave and start looking around. If you haven't done a rent increase for a while, go ahead and do one, but just don't price gouge them. And then second, if you're a renter and you're currently looking for a rental, there's kind of two areas you're shopping within. One is it's just a company that owns the rentals, whether it's a complex, and then you have the mom and pops, which the mom and pops right now are usually the ones that are in the most trouble with, possibly in forbearance. And I think everybody's in forbearance if they have tenants missing payments. But when you're, it's a lot easier for you as a tenant to rent from the decision maker than it is to rent from the decision maker's employee, who's going to now just take applications back and review them with their boss or owner. So it's going to be a little bit of a fishing expedition and a numbers game, right? I've talked about this before. One of the best things that you can do, because as a landlord, when we're dealing with inquiries on our rentals, we're bombarded by so many. We're lucky if we can even get to them all. And then if we're going ahead and pre-screening any of them, meaning, are they asking questions we've already answered in the property description, clearly shows they haven't really read it and they're just clicking around. So you really have to be very strategic when you are responding to a rental. For me, I always say you got to do something extra. You got to do something beyond just asking when I can get a showing or is this still available. You're better off just giving a blurb about yourself right out of the gate and really make yourself shine. And I'm saying a blurb, and I always say no life stories, no hard luck stories. They don't care if your owner just notified you that you want to sell. Now they feel this burden placed upon them. You have to leave that, in my opinion, out of it. You just want to respond with a blurb that sets you apart from everybody else. And that blurb is going to have to be, friends, your strengths. You want to lean on your strengths. If you've got solid employment, just bullet point solid employment. If you've got cash reserves, which I hope you do, put cash reserves. If you've got a great credit score, put great credit score. If you're a professional person, put professional person. Now, again, as a landlord, it's not a deal breaker for me, but I love the tenant that gives my units light usage, meaning they leave every day and go to their job. Now, I know we're a lot of work from home stuff now, but that's wear and tear on our properties. So, I love seeing working professional, great credit score, great employment, cash reserves, great references, and maybe even attach a reference letter from a professional person in your circle. I do this for a lot of my friends and even some of you on YouTube have reached out to me. I'll give you a letter of recommendation from somebody who works in real estate, and that looks really good. So if you know anybody in real estate, see if you can get a recommendation letter. A lot of times what I say is, this is to whom it may concern. Joe Blow is what I would consider a great tenant. If I had any rentals available myself, I would be considering them for my own units. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, short and sweet is always the key, because when I'm reviewing tons and tons and tons of applications, and if I get to this life story one that reads like a book, I'm not going to be able to read it all. And if it stresses me out, I'm just like, wow, it's stressed out. So you really it's like a job resume. Just make it very concise, your strengths. If you were applying for a job, you're not going to give them any hard luck stories. You're going to give them your qualifications. So just try to give your qualifications. So anyway, I just wanted to come back on. I did a rental, kind of something on this in the past where I even, suggested a rental resume or tenant overview letter to attach to any time you're inquiring about rental property to set yourself apart. And that is absolutely a great idea. Please, whenever you're responding, don't ask questions that have already been answered, and try to understand that they're probably looking at the same exact inquiry over and over and over. So if you can do something a little different, maybe provide a little information up front, to get their attention, you have a higher likelihood of getting chosen. And if you can go directly to the person that makes the decisions, a lot of times that's going to be easier than a management company that just has software and this basically, that's their format, is just to basically judge you on paper, on your strengths, and it's going to compete against credit scores and income and cash reserves and length of time of income and whatever other criteria we decide we're going to measure. So if I meet somebody in person, they impress upon me, they've come prepared, they present well, they're not dumping life stories on me, I'm really going to, I've placed tenants without even having to dig too deep on them. Now, again, that's me. Probably, especially in today's day and age, you have to scrutinize a little further than maybe we did in the past. With the eviction ban ending and, potentially a lot of renters are going to be flooding the market, you'll probably, we will probably have to scrutinize even a little further than before. But again, folks, this is the way to get rental properties, and just understand that you can do it. You can go out. A lot of times when I've rented, I've been bummed that I've had to leave a rental, but then later on in life, I looked back and I was so excited because I'm like, man, this place I got now, I love it, and so just always remain positive. When one door closes, another door opens, right? And you have to believe when one door closes, a better one is opening. I know it's hard in that situation sometimes to think positive, but it's absolutely essential that you do that. You really, really can create a lot of opportunity with the way you think and your attitude. So go make it count today, and we'll see you on the next video.